We're just a few days away from the 2025 NFL Draft. That means it's time for final 7-round mock drafts. We're to the Houston Texans. This is one of the most interesting teams in the league for me because I think they would really like to get an offensive lineman. I'm just not sure it's the offensive lineman that you think. I'm not sold that they're going Josh Connerly. If they were, or Josh Sims for that matter, if they were, then why the hell did they sign Cam Robinson? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I've done the mock for the Houston Texans. Let's get into it. They actually make two moves. So they trade down from 25 to get an extra pick. They trade back up with the Philadelphia Eagles to 32 to make their selection in the first round. And that selection, Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. I think he's a legit two. He kind of reminds me of Stephon Diggs, only faster. I just think that with Houston, with no Tank Dell next year, you basically got Nico Collins, and there's not a whole lot else there. That receiving core went from really good to really sketchy really fast. So here you add Golden. This is not a super deep group of receivers in terms of guys that can play right away. There are a lot of draftable guys, but if you need somebody that can come in and make an impact this year, Golden is one of very few that I think can do it at a high level. Plays primarily in the slot, but I think he can go out wide for some reps as well. He's just going to have to get better at getting off press, and he's going to have to learn to play to the actual clocked speed because I was stunned when he ran that 40 time at the combine. You know, was it a 4.29 for him? That dumbfounded me because I never saw him run that fast when he was at Texas. Number 58, we go Charles Grant, offensive tackle out of William and Mary. I know the Texans don't tend to draft guys in the last few years from smaller schools. I think that's a really biased stat because you don't have as many guys from smaller schools. Most of these guys transfer up. Charles Grant didn't do that. I hear this kid's name every single time I talk to anybody affiliated with teams, and it makes me think he's going higher than people think. I don't know if it will be this high. If it makes you feel better to switch Grant and Arroyo, that's fine. Because I think I have Arroyo a little low and I may have Grant a little high. But at the end of the day, it's still the same set of players. So Charles Grant, high-end, I think, prospect. The level of competition is a big deal, but the tape on him is really, really good. Can play guard. I don't know that that's going to be his best position. He's really athletic, and he's got the good body frame. I don't really think there's any reason to move him inside the guard. But Blake Fisher didn't do much for you last year. You took him in the second round, and woo, boy. If you didn't do that, or if you took him because you didn't want to take a group of five guy, learn the lesson. Take the group of five guy because Blake Fisher was a bum last year. 79, Elijah Arroyo, tight end out of Miami. Only 1 year of production. He had some injury issues in 22 and 23 that really kept him from being, I think he had 8 catches total in those 2 seasons. Really, really fast. Was consistently outrunning corners at the Senior Bowl. I like the tape on him. It does bother me, the injury history and the fact it was only 1 year. But if this kid's healthy, he can be a dynamic piece where he's basically just a big slot. But he's also a big slot that's fast enough to beat linebackers consistently, to beat safeties consistently. I think he can be a dynamic weapon in the offense. So we go Elijah Arroyo there to the Houston Texans. I just realized there's an extra pick here. Chase Lunt goes to Philadelphia, not to Houston. I'll have to fix that in post. Alfred Collins, defensive tackle at 83. This kid came to Texas as a defensive end. I think he can be a really good pass rusher in the league. You're just going to have to manage his weight. This kid blew up like a balloon and gained, over the course of his time at Texas, he gained 55 pounds. And there are rumors that his weight ballooned all the way up to like 350 pounds at one point last year. So you are going to have to control that. But he moves really well at 330. He holds 330 really well. So I think he can be a nice piece on the inside. And with the rotation that D'Amico Ryans plays, I love the idea that you're not going to burn him out. Because that was one of my drawbacks with him is I'm not sure how high of a snap count he can actually withstand. It also bothered me that he got beat out by 2 younger guys in Byron Murphy and Tavondre Sweat. But at the end of the day, those were 2 guys that both went in the top 35 of picks last year. So if you're going to get beat by 2 guys that go as one in the first round, one is a borderline first round, that's a good one to lose out to. Disregard that Chase Lunt pick. I see now how I screwed up Philadelphia. I screwed up 2 of these. One was Philadelphia, one was Houston. Dumbass. They made a trade with each other. Joshua Gray in the 5th round, that is a guard. I also think he can play center. Really mobile. I love the tape on him at times. At times, it's not great, which is why you can get him in the 5th round. I think he's just going to have to refine the technique. The better the team was that Joshua Gray played against, the worse his technique got. And that is scary to me. That leads me to believe that this kid will end up in the 5th round as opposed to in the 4th, where that's my eval on him, is that he has a 4th round grade. And then 2 late picks right here with B.J. Mays, the cornerback out of Texas A&M that has been really popular. He's done a lot of top 30 visits over the course of the process. And Easton Macarinas Arnold, linebacker out of USC. Houston brought him in for a top 30 visit. He really fits the profile of that D'Amico, Sala, San Francisco 49er defense and what they look for in a linebacker. Can't tell you that they will actually draft him. He might be a priority undrafted free agent. But right there at the end of the 7th round, it was a name that I wanted to get out there. Houston Texans fans, how do you feel about this mock? I know 2 trades. I get it. Everybody complains every year that I don't do enough trades, so this year I did a few more than I usually do. I think Houston would jump at the opportunity to get that 5th-year option on Matthew Golden. If you have any questions, throw those in the comments of this video. I answer all of those, and I'm going to try to answer them all before we're live every day of the 2025 NFL Draft from Green Bay, Wisconsin, and it's yours right here in the Sportsocracy. I'm at ESPN Draft Nerd Jeremy Green, and this was the 7th round mock draft for the Houston Texans.